This is Ian, a very likable man who actually walked away from me before I could share the gospel with him. When I'm going through the commandments, in my heart I'm saying, stay with it to the person, because I know there must be a thorough knowledge of sin so someone will see their need of God's mercy. We've got to talk about the disease, which is very uncomfortable, so the person will see their need to take the cure. And so, never be discouraged if someone walks away from you. It happens to me, it may happen to you. It happened to Jesus with a rich young ruler. And always remember that salvation is of the Lord, that it's God that saves people. So just pray for the person that God will continue to follow them and they'll hear the gospel at the right time. So Ian, you were here for the earthquake last night?
Yes.
Did it make you pray?
No.
What size earthquake would get you praying? 8.2, 8.3, 8.5? Do you need the ceiling coming down on you, people dying around you, your blood being crushed out of your body? What would make you pray?
It would probably have to be some sort of imminent sense of death, and then I would have to, I'm not quite sure how I'd respond to it. I've not been in a situation like that, but I would expect something.
If you are in a situation like that, you're going to die. Death is imminent. They say there's only two things in life that are sure. Do you know what those two things are?
Death and taxes.
That's a lie. A lot of people avoid taxes. You just need a good accountant, but nobody avoids death. 10 out of 10 die. We're part of the ultimate statistic. So do you think there's an afterlife?
What do you mean by an afterlife?
Do you think heaven and hell exist?
I don't know. I haven't really come to a real solid opinion about that.
Do you think about it much?
Not particularly. It crosses my mind about an afterlife. If you're asking about my spiritual beliefs, I think more about, the energy in our spirit going back into the world, and whether that we maintain a level of consciousness in a sort of, a heaven or hell type of idea or traditional idea of that. I don't know that I really believe in that. I think more that our energy goes back. I don't know whether or not we maintain a consciousness.
Are you afraid of death?
No.
Come on, everybody is.
Pardon?
Everybody is. There's something in you that says, I don't want to die. Life is better than death. People that commit suicide are driven there by some insane circumstances, but guarantee nobody in his right mind wants to die,
Sure. Well, saying that I want to die is different than whether or not I'm afraid of it. I think I've led a pretty good life for the most part. And
so you're a good person? You've got nothing to fear when you face God?
I'd certainly like to think so.
How many lies have you told in your life?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I can count them, but very few.
Okay. Have you ever stolen something, even if it's small, in your whole life?
What does it mean to steal something?
Take something that belongs to somebody else.
With the intent to deprive them of that.
So irrespective of its value, God's your witness, have you ever taken something that belongs to somebody else?
Yes.
It was like pulling teeth.
Well,
why was the hesitation?
Well, so for example, if you say something like, I know, for example, that my parents might, let me have their food. I can go into the refrigerator anytime I want. And
that's not theft. Now stop it. Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
I have not gone into a store, put something in my pocket and left or anything like that.
Ever downloaded music off the internet that's not yours?
So that's a good point. Well, I'm gonna maintain the fifth on this one since I'm on record.
That's theft. Have you ever used God's name in vain?
Yes.
It's called blasphemy when you do that. It's when you take the name of the God who gave you life, family, freedom of this country, the blueness of the sky, beauty of music, color, laughter, all these pleasures, and you've used his name as a cuss word. Would you use your mother's name as a cuss word?
So what's happened here is that there's this idea that using God's name in vain is a sin, and that is part of a belief. And whether some people believe that and others don't necessarily believe that.
Right.
So, have I ever used my mom's name in this as a cuss word? No.
Because you dishonor her. It'd be a terrible thing to do.
Wouldn't make much sense. I don't think anybody would really understand.
Okay, well, make sense for me why you'd use God's name as a cuss word. Make it make sense.
Because it's understood as, as an emotion or as a exclamation. If somebody were to throw that out there, then people would understand, oh, this person is frustrated, or this person is upset, or people would know what that what the purpose of saying that was.
Yeah, instead of using a filth word beginning with S to express disgust, we take the name of God, the holy name of God, and use it in its place. It's called blasphemy. Very serious end. One to go, and I appreciate your patience with me. Jesus said, whoever looks at a woman and lusts for her has committed adultery already with her in his heart. Have you ever looked at a woman with lust?
So I think that this interview is kind of going in a direction which I'm not particularly comfortable in continuing.
You want me to stop?
Yes, please.
Too hot in the kitchen?
I'm just not interested in continuing, a kind of conversation where I feel like I am now trying, where it feels like you are trying to convince me of something.
Okay.
And so I would like to terminate this.
Okay, nice to meet you, Ian. Thank you, sir.